are put into this position not by chance, in this cultural moment not by chance, then what is our responsibility? How do we steward technology? How do we inculcate habits, right, that can build faith in their lives, at the same time avoid them being nudged away from God? And so my first point for us to think about it is, how are our teenagers or our children's identity being formed? When they are on technology a lot, right, are we anchoring their identity strong enough in the Lord? Or because of the multiple exposure on different platforms, is their identity being shaped by what they are seeing, what the influencers are saying and doing, right? Or even their friends, right? Because they have got all these different sources of information with different worldviews. The more that our children are on technology or different forms of media, the more we need to anchor them and affirm their God-given identity. Are we able to do that? How do we find moments in the day to do that? The second point is, when we use technology a lot, I think even for us adults, we tend to get distracted, right? We get this habit of, we want to multitask. There's so many things that need to be done. My question is, how are we inculcating this important habit of contemplation and reflection that we need to build our relationship with God? Because when we are on technology so much, this is something that I catch myself, as an adult, and I am on screens a lot. If you ask me how many hours do I spend on screens, I think you will shock, like totally bust all your because it's my work, it's my ministry, right? And so I need to constantly remind myself, am I carving out time to be able to focus on God? Am I having that habit of mine to be able to focus? Am I building that skill to be able to focus? And sometimes if you're not careful, we tend to be distracted by so many things that we lose that ability to focus, right? We lose that ability to just be still. Just be still, be silent before the Lord. It takes discipline, I feel. And so how do we build that in our children? And my third point is, are we using technology to create, or are we using it for pure consumption? Right? We are created to create. An attribute of God is a creator, right? We are supposed to redeem. We are all given the ministry of reconciliation, as given by 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 18 onwards, right? We are given the ministry of reconciliation to reconcile our world back to Christ. And when God has given us this very powerful tools, right? Some of us have got multiple devices, small device, big device. How are we using this to redeem culture back for Christ?
Before this, I had restrictions put on by my parents. So these actually help. So time limit restrictions, what websites can I go to, and this helped me in terms of self-control. So by training myself into thinking okay, I'm gonna turn on the computer, what am I gonna do? Am I just gonna laze around and scroll or play games, or do I have an objective that I want to fulfill? So that's something that I've turned into a habit, that whenever I turn on a computer, I go in with a purpose so that I don't really get distracted easily. I mean, I still get distracted sometimes, but it's not as often now as if if I just went online without any reason. A lot of times parents will think when they see their kids always on their phone, they'll be like, why use your phone so much? So I think a lot of the time kids are probably aware that this is the fact, they are using their phone a lot. The problem is they don't know what else to do. So I think the question that a lot of parents should ask instead is why instead of why are you using your phone so much, why are you spending so little time doing blank, for example. So for me, I have several different hobbies. I like music, so I spend a lot of time playing drums especially. And for myself, since I have developed such a passion, I guess, for music and drumming, then I have something else to fill my time with compared to just using my devices all the time. And that's something that I guess for if you're a parent and you have kids, or if you're just a teenager yourself, and you find that maybe you're using your devices too much, maybe find something. For me, what helped was that I found something that I wanted to do, and if I spend the whole day playing games on my phone or my computer, and then I like don't play drums, even though I wanted to, then I'll feel quite guilty. So it helps me to control and limit myself when I think necessary. Yeah.
There's this wisdom I think I'm starting to learn, over these number of years, is that certain areas of your life, right, are in a sense sacred. And when you keep them to just the people that it matters, it is a lot more, I don't know, there's something special about that. There's something special about just keeping things like just the family enjoy this, I don't need to show the whole world. And then I think I also become wiser as to why am I sharing? What am I posting? The question becomes very important. So when we say that we want to be salt and light, we really need to come before God to question whether or not that is our motivation for doing it. Right? I know that many parents are, I'm not judging, but I think we need to reflect. When we post something like our child wins an award in school, right? Why do we post? And you need to dig deep inside to figure out what the motivations are, know whether it really is a thanksgiving unto the Lord or whether it is a pride issue. And if it starts to out, then don't post. It's quite simple. So this was something that occurred to me, right? When I had my first child, you have that Simba moment where you lift the child up and then you take a photo and then you do the Lion King thing. And you post on Facebook and tell everybody, wow, it's such an amazing thing. Or maybe you post, I expected some bright light to shine from heaven, but I never did. It's quite a lot of work. And you share things like, their first steps and then maybe their first words and you put everything up. You're such a proud parent, right? Somehow one day I realized that I'm writing my daughter's story for her. Right? There'll come a day of reckoning, right? When some prospective boy comes around and meets up with her and they go on their first date and tells her that actually you don't need to tell me anything about yourself, right? Your father recorded everything down. And that'll be a nightmare scenario for me. And then after that I just decided I think I better stop. I better stop posting a lot of these things. And to be fair, when my daughter grew up and she realized that, you got some photos, I know you restricted it to friends, but can you take it down? Right? And I had to go through and remove each and every single instance of her appearance in my life. It's a lot of work, but you go like, I'm glad that she understands the need for privacy. I'm glad that she's becoming her own person and she can make these kind of choices. I do regret that maybe I wasn't as thoughtful